How do you strike a business deal?
Cutting a deal and getting a gig and working with people.
Business!
And being able to negotiate a price when people don't think that you're a professional.
Yeah.
No one's as good as a negotiator as I am.
We're going to teach you the art of the deal.
No one, believe me guys, no one knows the art of the deal better than I do.
Yeah, get that out of here. Get that out of my house.
You want to be forceful enough that people don't walk all over you, but you also don't want to be an asshole.
Yeah.
That too.
There's a line.
So there's this fine line that's honestly really kind of hard to find, especially when you don't have a huge reputation, because then your reputation is your word.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you say the right words.
Yeah. And
That's what it boils down to.
more important than necessarily setting a good price and then negotiating and bargaining on this price, I think it's really useful to just talk to that person and get to know them. Get to know like their business, get to know like whether or not they have a decent amount of traffic, get to know if they have a financial base, like find out some information first so that then when you are putting your price forward or when they ask what you normally charge, you can tell them, well, we normally charge this much, but it sounds like you can only really manage like half of that. And so like if you guys can also cover these other expenses, or if you can at least cover travel, or like, and just like actually work with these people and talk to them and get to know them and have an interaction, that has been super helpful.
You know, in regards to gigging, like, okay, like how far are we going to travel? Like how much is that going to cost us? Like how much gear are we bringing? Are they providing sound or whatever? And all sorts of different things like that. Like it's very important to be really open with the people that you talk to.
You have like a verbal receipt of, that you're putting.
Kind of a funny story relating to what Light was talking about, as far as like setting prices and communicating and being flexible one way or the other. My dad always told me growing up that the best answer to give somebody when they ask how much you charge is to turn around and ask them how much is in their budget for hiring musicians. And so there was one time I got hired to, I was like a sophomore in high school, I think, so I was still pretty young. But there was a guy that worked at the like barber shop that I went to, and his daughter was getting married, so he asked me to play for the ceremony, just to like play some guitar, classical guitar type things. And he asked how much I charged for that, and I was like, well, how much is in your budget? And the entire barbershop exploded with laughter because they didn't expect a high schooler to be that professional.
Sassy.
Yeah.
And
Nice. There you go.
ended up making a decent amount of money for not a whole lot of work. So,
But
yeah, just having a communication rather than trying to be like set in stone with everything that you do is super important.
It's really vital to be able to like answer their question, but more than that, what you're needing to do is give them information. Start informing them. Oh, well, how many people do you draw on a $15 ticket? We're like, well, and you don't even have to answer their question. They go, how many people do you draw on a $15 ticket? You go, well, we've performed at these festivals that have 4,000 person draw. We've done this other thing that brings in this many hundred or this many thousand people, and that way, if you are just starting out and you don't really have any idea how many people you bring in yet, or how many people would pay for a ticket to come to your show, if you've played at other venues, tell them that instead of necessarily just going, oh, well, no one, or lying to them. I mean,
Yeah, don't lie. That's not a good thing.
give them more pertinent information, basically, is the answer.
Tell them the things that make you look good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And like, especially when they don't know you, you need to be giving them information to help fill in these gaps so that they can start to know who you are before they've hired you, and develop these relationships with these people in a good, positive way, so that in the future, if the gig that you had turns out to be really great and you like working with those people, the next time you talk to them, you're likely to get another gig. or they'll tell someone else that runs another festival, or they'll tell someone else that's on another circuit, or whatever it is. And then that way you're building your network and establishing your like verbal ability to negotiate. I mean, what's basically your job, you know? And this applies to like pretty much any quasi-independent salesman type thing.
Yeah.
You know, I would say, like, if you're selling art, or if you, I mean, whatever service you're trying to do, like, being able to stand by that's good for you to make an impact on people when they get you for free, just because of the way psychology functions for most people. They value what you're doing less, even if it is very good.
Yeah.
If you play for free, they potentially aren't going to treat you the same way they would treat you if they were paying you $300. They might not reference you to someone else because, well, these guys aren't really that serious. They're just kind of coming up and doing it for fun.
Yeah.
I think people just take you a little bit more seriously if you take yourself seriously. Put the foot down and be like, this is a service.
And and like, you can still be kind and polite, and you can still work with people, and ultimately,
Oh yeah.
Just like any other business.
and ultimately, it's going to be whatever you think is best, and you got to figure that out for yourself. This is just kind of our thoughts on that topic. Is all.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you liked what you saw, remember to give that like button a smash. Then subscribe. Check out our other videos up over here. Have an awesome night. Cool.